Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to another free live webinar from Ariva Academy. Our topic this afternoon is EQ-driven leadership, the secret to better relationships and team success. I am Kate, and yes, I will be again your host this afternoon. And yes, I will also be learning with all of our participants. So get ready because we are about to start. But before we get to know our speaker, I have again some reminders just to make sure that the program will be running smoothly this afternoon. First, Ariva is committed to protecting your privacy, hence stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And for our participants who are using their mobile gadgets right now to view this webinar, this is what you can do. You can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, again, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, can you type hi in the chat box and then let us know where are you located? Just here in Metro Manila or somewhere in the province? Because just like the past free live webinars, we again have a lot of participants who are joining us from the provinces. In fact, we have a lot of them who are viewing us from Aklan right now. Also coming from Bacolod, from Baguio, from Bataan, coming from Batangas, from Benguet, from Butuan City, Cabanatuan City as well. Hello to our participants who are in Cagayan de Oro City. Coming from Cebu, from Davao, from Gensan, from Iligan City, from Ilocos, from Iloilo, from La Union, yes, from Laguna, from Leyte, from Misamis Oriental, from Northern Samar, from Nueva Ecija, Olongapo City, Ozamis City, from Pampanga, Pangasinan, and Zamboanga City. I'm seeing here from Siargao, from Cavite, from Apari. We also have participants who are in Quezon City, in Intramuros, in Bukidnon, in Pasig, in Parañaque. Hi, Hazel Joy. I am also just here in Parañaque right now. From Manila as well. From Tuguegarao, from Bulacan, from Taytay, from Santa Ana. Hello. Good afternoon to all of our participants here in Luzon, in Visayas, and Mindanao. So, well represented in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So, hello, Philippines. And I also would like to greet our participants who are viewing us from the live streams. We have live streams from Facebook, also in LinkedIn, and also in YouTube. So a lot of participants are viewing us there also, aside from our Zoom participants. Now, the next one is really important, okay? Let us do an audio check because I really want to make sure that you will not miss out our discussion. So this is what you have to do. Please type 111 if you can hear me clearly. You can type 222 if you can't hear anything. Or you can type 212 and if you can hear me but the sound is choppy or I am breaking up. You can also type question mark if you don't understand what's happening. Let me see. I am seeing a lot of 111s in the chat box. Thank you so much for that. Later, we'll have a 5-minute break. So I'll be announcing that. And during that break time, we have an exciting activity. Okay, so but this is what you have to do. Get your gadgets right now, okay? Get your gadgets. And then make sure you are able to scan the QR code. This is for the Ariva Academy Viber community. The activity that we will have this break time will involve only those who are in the Ariva Academy Viber community. So if you're not yet a part of the Ariva Academy Viber community, make sure you scan this QR code. There's the bigger one so that it's easier for you to scan. We'll give you a few more moments to scan this QR code para hindi masayang yung opportunity because we are going to give away GCash prizes later. But again, para lang to sa mga nasa Viber community. So as early as now, inviting everyone to scan this QR code, and automatically that will bring you inside our Viber community. Thank you and see you there. Now, participants' microphones will be disabled by our administrator during the discussion. So instead of raising your hand for the questions, you can type your questions in the chat box, okay? Type your questions in the chat box, and then at the end of our session, we'll have a Q&A portion. That is when we will be addressing your questions. An e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. And yes, it is not just for our Zoom participants, but also for our participants who are in the live stream. Okay, so they will be available 3 to 5 working days after the learning session. Just make sure that you provide the correct email address so that you will really receive your e-certificate. And make sure also that you will fill out the feedback form. We will be posting that feedback form here in the chat box before we end our session. So make sure you fill out the form and then submit it back to us para talagang ma-receive nila ang kanilang e-certificate. Okay? So there you have it. I know you are excited to listen to our speaker. So now let me introduce him. A trailblazer, visionary, and advocate for innovation, our speaker has spent more than 25 years shaping the HR landscape across national, regional, and global leadership roles in some of the world's most prestigious organizations. He has earned a reputation as a transformative force in HR business partnership, talent management, organizational development, and people analytics, driving meaningful change and fostering cultural and structural excellence in diverse organizations. His unwavering commitment to progress has been recognized through prestigious accolades, including the Globe Excellence Award for Project Management, IBM HR Partnering for Project Diamond, and PMAP Exemplar Award for People Management and People Program. His leadership has also contributed to organizational recognition, including the Asia CEO Wellness Company of the Year and the Gold Standard Award for Culture Creation from SSON. Beyond his remarkable career achievements, our speaker is a thought leader and passionate advocate for people analytics and engagement. His insights have resonated across borders as he has been invited to keynote conferences in the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, India, China, Hungary, and Portugal. A pioneering figure in the shared services industry, he has held esteemed leadership roles, including serving as the 2018 chair of the GICC HR Committee and the IBPAP Capability Building Committee. His dedication to advancing the profession continues as a board of trustee at the Asian Institute of Human Resources Management and an active member of PMAP's Research Committee and the 2025 Research Conference Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now welcome our speaker this afternoon, Mr. Eric Riego de Dios.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so
Good
much for
afternoon.
the very, very generous introduction. I'm very happy to be always partnering with Ariva, who is actually focusing on the capability building of our Filipino workforce. And mind you, this is a free webinar really dedicated to the working people, working professionals of the Philippine community. So thank you so much for accommodating and inviting me in this session. And it's a great pleasure to be talking about a very important topic, which is emotional intelligence.
That's really important.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. And Kate, without further ado, let me just invite our technical team to already flash our material on the screen. And hopefully everyone is already seeing what we have prepared for you on the screen. And this is all about the EQ-driven leadership, the secret to better relationships and team success. And we'll know more about that as we progress in our learning journey this afternoon. So next slide, please. So I guess there is not no longer a lot of need for an introduction because Kate actually generously provided that. Also, next slide would be some of the reminders. Kate already provided a bit of reminders as well. So we will skip that and let's move on essentially on the table of content, the things that we will be covering for this afternoon. And as many of you can definitely see, we'll be covering 3 modules this afternoon, starting with deconstructing EQ or demystifying EQ. What is EQ all about and why does it matter? Number 2 module is our leaders toolkit, giving you some bits and pieces of tips and some frameworks and guidelines so that you can be better leaders in your respective communities or in your respective workplaces. Last module would be fostering team success through psychological safety. And this is something that is very important, yet not being given enough attention in our industry and in our different workplaces. We'll wrap things up before 3:30 and making sure that we provide you a bit more time for some interactive conversation in a question and answer portion. I hope that that works for everyone. And without further ado, let me just introduce you an introduction through a definition of what EQ is all about. This is a particular definition because this is not necessarily a straightforward definition, but a quotation from Daniel Goleman. This is the next slide. Let's focus. There you go. So as you can see there, that is Daniel Goleman, and he is one of the earlier pioneers and proponents of emotional intelligence. And in fact, he might have actually coined the concept of EQ or emotional quotient. And he is saying CEOs are hired for their intellect and business expertise and fired for a lack of emotional intelligence. So other experts would actually say that you get hired because of your intelligence, but you get up because of your emotional intelligence, right? So there's a difference. Cerebral gets you hired in a company. Emotional intelligence gets you up the ladder. So that's the big difference for sure. So hopefully we will be able to cultivate both our cognitive skills and also our emotional intelligence as well. So with that, let us invite you to a Mentimeter engagement. So next slide, please. So if you have your smartphones with you, we invite you to actually participate in this Mentimeter session. Just scan the QR code that you're already seeing. That would lead you to the Mentimeter engagement. So if those of you are not able to go through the QR code, please just go on to menti.com and type in a specific code. So technical team, if you're already there you go. So the code is 441-25234, and that is 441-25234. This is very exciting because we would be asking you how you would be defining, okay, or what pops up to your mind when we hear emotional intelligence or EQ. All right, this is good because we are having a bit of slight solidification. The first thing so far that is coming to the mind of our participants, and I think we have, 500, I guess more than 500, and this will be even growing because we're also live on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, Kate. So far what we're seeing here is empathy, emotions, understanding, sympathy, for sure. And you're even saying leadership because I think that is a very important component now of leadership, emotional intelligence. You cannot be an effective leader in the future of work if you do not have, or if you're not cultivating your emotional intelligence. So far at the front and center, Kate, of our word cloud is empathy. And I think there is a special place why this is happening, because I guess even after the pandemic, there is a lot of focus in terms of really amplifying humanity in the workplace. And at the heart of it all is empathy. So I guess we are in the right direction. This is exactly what I'm expecting from our participants, because for sure, empathy would really drive emotional intelligence. And we will see later on how does empathy, feelings, emotions, leadership come into play in this very big concept of emotional intelligence. I would like to thank everyone who have participated here. We have very rich information that we're seeing on the screen, and we will leverage all of these information as we move along. Thank you, technical team, and let's move back to our presentation material. So now, more or less, you have defined what emotional intelligence is. Let's just move on in terms of why it is important for us to really focus on emotional intelligence. And this is not just all about that warm, fuzzy feeling of you being a people person, that you understanding people, but it has real economic and business impact. As you can see here, EQ is actually responsible for 58% in terms of job performance. Have you been wondering why you were rated by your managers as such? Maybe you have done a very good job in terms of delivering all of the tasks. In terms of your goals, you have been achieving them. But perhaps there is also the aspect of values of how you're able to deliver your tasks. And sometimes you might not get the highest score. And maybe we can think of that as well as, what were the gaps? Because I already achieved the hard, the solid things that we need to be achieved. What are the things that I am missing? So maybe have you asked yourself, am I missing on the aspect of emotional intelligence? Because more than majority of the assessment is really coming from not just your cerebral or cognitive skills, but really coming from your emotional skills. In fact, that's 58% in terms of numbers. Now let's talk about money. And you're saying, why is he getting promoted? Why is he getting more bonus than I do? We're doing the same job anyway. I'm actually delivering the same things that he is delivering. But have you asked yourself as well, were you able to deliver that with a lot of tact, with a lot of emotional intelligence as well? And that actually accounts for more or less on the average 2 million pesos additional money for you. And this is not a joke, because these numbers are really coming from The Economist, from Harvard Business Review. So there is really a strong numeric business case for developing our emotional intelligence. This is not just amplification of humanity in the workplace, but it does have real impact from a financial and even economical perspective. And what you can see here is that 22% out of, mind you, 155,000 leaders, only 22% of them were found to have high or strong EQ. So you are listening and you are a leader. Are you part of this 22% population? Or do you belong to the 78% who would need development in their emotional intelligence? Right? So questions that we have to ask ourselves, because the world and the future of work is changing. The next slide will tell us what has been changing in the last 5 to 10 years. Next slide, please. As you can see, we are able to actually detail to you what is traditional versus modern leadership style, right? So as you can see here, the authoritarian and hierarchical leadership is the old way of actually leading and managing people. So what are the attributes of this type of leadership? They are people, or they are leaders with low level of trust. They have less motivation. They have they work to rule rather than they work to lead. And then there's little room for progress from their perspective. Whereas the modern and supportive leadership, they actually are the people who belong to the 22% of the population with very high emotional quotient. And they have high level of trust. They have greater motivation, and they can also demand greater motivation from their people. And they enjoy the work really. And because of their contagious passion, they also infect their population with the same excitement, the same passion, the same joy that we can see in the work. And then because of that joy, because of that excitement, because of that passion, there is greater creativity and innovation. So between these two columns, you can definitely say that emotional intelligence has a strong role to play in differentiating the authoritarian and hierarchical leadership versus the modern supportive leadership that is full of emotional intelligence, right? That's right. There's also an input here is saying, Jocelyn is saying, it is better to have a team where we all have a voice. That is very true. And later on, Jocelyn, we will tackle that more as we enter into the concept of psychological safety. But meanwhile, let's focus on really amplifying what do we exactly mean by emotional intelligence. So from a practical perspective, I would like to engage you. I know that we cannot unmute our microphones, so I will be requesting you to be very active typists on our chat box. What I will be showing you is a scenario where you can probably also imagine what to you would be a good way of approaching situation. So one situation would be like this. Next slide, please. There you go. So I will read this and provide your perspective. Your team is delivering a high-profile marketing campaign for an important client, but a week before the launch, critical design assets are incomplete due to unclear requirements and missed approvals. The client is demanding daily updates. Tensions are rising, and stressed team members are starting to blame each other, putting the project and the client relationship at risk. Now, the old style leadership would respond this way, as you could have imagined, right? They would call for an emergency meeting and ask, who is the problem here? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? So again, there is a blame game. And of course, you as an employee of that, you will be full of fear. And do you think that you'll be able to provide great input or solution given that environment? I don't think so. And then that leader would dictate a new plan without input because he thinks that he has everything that he needs for him to come up with a great solution. And then he will also emphasize that working longer hours to fix the problem would be the way to go. All right. So have you seen this kind of leadership? Have you been experiencing this kind of leadership? Or at worst, are you this kind of leader? Or are you the new kind of leader as well? Yes. So this new leader is the modern, emotionally intelligent leader. And this is how that leader would respond. He would, similar to the old style, call a meeting, but in that meeting, he would openly discuss without assigning blame to anyone, right? This would be really more focused on solutioning rather than finding the blame. He will try to listen to each member's concerns and ideas, as mentioned by Jocelyn earlier, right? It's good to have a voice in a team, and then collaboratively develop a realistic recovery plan while supporting well-being. So it's not just we have to do an overnighter just to make sure that we are delivering or providing a solution. This is a balance between the business exigencies and the overall welfare and well-being of the employees, because any emotionally intelligent leader would be able to understand that no one would really succeed if you actually burn your people. So this is, again, a marathon, not a sprint. So this is something that we all should remember as leaders. So why are we really harping on emotional intelligence? Because, next slide, please. We all want to move to the promised land. And the promised land of workforce or a workplace that is the promised land is, next slide. Right, so this is the promised land where leaders are emotionally intelligent and employees are also emotionally intelligent, right? Right, so team members feel heard, they are valued, they are motivated. Higher engagement and stronger trust. As you know, many organizations like Best Buy, for example, IBM, for example, they exactly know that each engagement point that they are able to rise or attain at a higher perspective would be equivalent to at least $25,000 of revenue. Right? Lower turnover as employees choose to stay and grow. As you know, this is a very expensive way of really incurring costs when you have higher turnover. In the Philippines, each turnover is at least equivalent to $2,000. because you need to again hire, you need to train, you need to equip, and that's a very costly vicious cycle. And then when there is emotional intelligence in the workplace, there is a better collaboration, there is faster problem solving because, as Stephen Covey would say, the speed of trust. When you trust everyone, things become very fast in terms of resolution. And that is our gateway towards exceptional result that exceeds everyone's expectation, right? So I'm also seeing here, and thank you for volunteering information. So Melanie, ours is old leadership style. And I guess, Melanie, it's both a challenge and an opportunity that I'm sure you also have a role to play in making sure that we transition to a better style for the future of our workplace, right? So that is the same thing for Curvy, right? So there is a lot of authenticity and vulnerability, and I commend you both, Curvy and Melanie, for being very transparent or authentic, because really that is what we are admiring in our leaders now, right? A lot of transparency, a lot of authenticity, which are actually reflective of emotional intelligence. All right, so with that, you know what? That is just the introduction. Let's move on to the first module. Next slide, please. And of course, we will be demystifying emotional intelligence, right? So next slide. So this is an indirect way of defining emotional intelligence. And we are defining it based on its four components. And as you can see in the slide in front of you, this is comprised of, first, self-awareness. Next is self-management. Third is social awareness. And the fourth one is relationship management. So let me just pause here because I need to make you understand that these four components should be seen in a series, or in a way, in a sort of a step mode. It goes from one level to the other. So what do I mean by that? For you to really develop emotional intelligence, you cannot just focus first on social awareness. You have to go and strengthen your self-awareness. If you already have a good sense of self-awareness, and more or less you have a bit of a mastery, I'm not saying that you reach 100%. There is no such thing, because all of these are continuing journeys. So what I'm saying is, more or less, if you have a good sense of self-awareness at that level, maybe you have achieved already about 50%, 60%, you are now ready to move on to self-management. Because you cannot manage yourself if you are not aware of the things that make you happy, that make you sad, that irritate you, or that inspire you, right? So it really makes sense that you have to have enough critical mass in terms of your feeling of self-awareness or your skill of self-awareness. That's the time that you will be able to manage yourself, right? And what is managing yourself? You know, if you're feeling happy, you know, you leverage that, you amplify that. But if you're feeling sad, you're able to still power through despite the sadness, the loneliness. If you're feeling irritable, you're able to manage as well, to hold your tongue and not mention anything that you would later on regret, right? And once you're okay with self-management, you can now proceed. When I say okay, again, it doesn't mean that you're 100%, right? So more or less, you're filling the critical level needed for you to move on to the next level of social awareness. Are you aware of what's happening around you? Are you aware of the people that are surrounding you? Are you aware of what they're saying? Are you aware of their personalities, their characteristics, so on and so forth? And given that awareness, you will be able to manage relationship, right? If you know that Martha hates when you're actually cut her in the middle of her speech, you will be doing it less and less. That is relationship management. And if Martha likes the way that you nod whenever she's speaking or affirms whenever you are agreeing with what she's saying, then you're also building that kind of relationship. So what I am building here as a picture is that you cannot be socially aware if you don't have a critical mass of being self-aware. you cannot be able to manage your relationship if you have not been achieving a good sizable capability in terms of self-management. So I hope that it is making sense, right? So hopefully we'll be able to leverage this understanding as we move along. What we will be doing in the next 4 slides would be the definition of each of these stages. So again, your takeaway should be that this is a progressive serial component of emotional intelligence. For you to be emotionally intelligent, you have to start with self-awareness. And once you satisfy the primary requirements of self-awareness, now you can move on to self-management. Once satisfied, the critical level is satisfied in this level of self-management, you move on to social awareness. And then you move on to relationship management and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, you will discover more in each of these levels as you progress in your journey. Again, it is like leadership. It's like parenthood. You can never be 100% perfect as a leader. You cannot be 100% perfect as a parent. That's what Simon Sinek is saying. So it is an ongoing journey. But yes, you can reach a critical level for each of these steps or phases so that you can move on to the next level. All right. I hope that sticks because that is an important conceptual framework for emotional intelligence. So let's start. When we talk about self-awareness, this is really all about being able to understand your own emotions, strengths, limitations, or weaknesses, and how they impact your behavior and decisions, right? So remember, it is not just awareness of your emotions, strengths, limitations, but more so, what do you do with that information, with that knowledge? How do they impact your behavior and your decisions? So that is very important. Not just understanding emotions, but how do they actually impact the way you behave or display emotions? Hopefully that makes a lot of sense for you because this is a very operative or operational definition that you can just take away and really put into practice. Now let's move on to self-management, which is the second level of emotional intelligence. So you are able, once you are self-aware, you are able to self-manage. So what do we mean by self-management? What we mean here is you're able to control, you're able to regulate your emotions, impulses, and behaviors. And most importantly, when you can do the most damage, which is when you are under stress, when you are under a lot of pressure, right? So ask yourself, are you feeling any pressure right now? If the answer there is yes, please note, because you have to take extra precaution because you might not like whatever behavior you might be displaying or whatever decision you might be making. So take extra precaution, especially under duress or under a lot of stress. Okay. All right, so that's self-management. I guess that's self-explanatory. So again, self-awareness first before you're able to self-manage. And now once you're able to self-manage, you will free up your mind space so that you could observe outside of the self and towards your social environment. And that leads us to the next slide, which is focusing on social awareness. And how do we define this? We define this as recognizing and understanding others' emotions, and how you respond with sensitivity and compassion. Let me just pause because this is an important definition. You are able to recognize what surrounds you. More than that, you're able to understand the emotions of other people. Maybe you are a trigger to their anger, to their irritation. Right? And you should know that. And so with that, what is the appropriate response? You will try to be very, very careful not to stress, not to trigger other people. And that is your social awareness with sensitivity and compassion, right? So hindi yung answer dyan is, ayaw mo akong kasama manigas ka. Magkagrupo tayo no? So that is not the mature way of an emotionally intelligent person. So if you know that you're causing a bit of stress, if you're causing a bit of irritation to your team members, be extra careful to make sure that you would not further fan the flame, so to speak, or in Tagalog, wag mo nang gagatungan yung kanilang initial perception. So you have to make sure that you're able to have a plan so that you can navigate better. And when we talk about navigating social environment, we are actually talking about the next step, which is relationship management. So this is the next slide. So when we talk about relationship management, same with my example earlier, hindi mo kailangang gatungan ang mga maling perceptions sa'yo. In fact, you have to actually reverse or make sure that the perception is corrected. No? So this is all about relationship management. So if you are emotionally intelligent, you are socially aware. And if you're socially aware, you will be able to manage relationships accordingly. You're able to use emotional insights from within, from your observation of the environment, so that you can influence other people. You can coach them. You can collaborate with them. And you can resolve conflicts effectively with a more objective perspective. No? So hindi ka actually na-overtake ng emotion mo, especially when you are angry, irritated, under stress. Doon natin tayo lalong nagkakaroon ng mga problems because of sudden burst of emotions. So whether those are irritation, anger, frustration, that is 90% of the time where we actually look back and regret the way that we display our behavior. So don't be like me, who used to really have a lot of problems in terms of not being able to manage relationship. No? So every one of us would really need to grow, including myself, no? Because no one has really reached the pinnacle of emotional intelligence. No? So with that, just a review, we start with self-awareness. Again, that would progress into personal awareness. It becomes more of self-management. Once that is reached at a certain level, we move on and graduate towards social awareness. And with social awareness, hopefully you'll be able to navigate relationships, leading you to relationship management, right? So those are the 4 components of emotional intelligence. So having said that, I know I've been talking a lot, so I would like to engage you to another Mentimeter poll. So let's go. And my question in that Mentimeter poll is, how strong do you believe your emotional intelligence is, right? So how strong do you believe your emotional intelligence is? 10 being the highest score, and with 1 being the lowest score. So I want to really see, out of our more than 500 participants, no, what would be your assessment? Are you, ayan, so good, no? I really appreciate it because a lot of you are actually saying 10, which is great, no? So you are definitely part of the 22% of our population, no? So just 22%. So we're saying, no, 17 pa lang, no? So that's good. So maybe we can actually count as well 9 in a way, but that would actually bring us to 30, no? So hindi na accurate, no? So it's good that many of us are actually assessing ourselves to be at 8. Which is good and not very shameful at that, no? But I also appreciate some of you are saying 4 because you know that you have a lot of room to grow, no? So 1% so far rated themselves below the median of 4, and there is also 5 still below the median. So 5% of our population of participants are actually saying, yes, Eric, I confess I need to grow more in terms of emotional intelligence. And that's why you are here. And I really salute you and hats off to you because of your very good self-awareness. No? So maybe you don't necessarily belong in the 5 and 4 because the mere fact that you are saying that, hey, I need to grow more is really a testament of emotional intelligence, right? So good. And I'm also seeing a lot of 10, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8 here. Good. Appreciate that as well. Really appreciate your participation, guys, because this is something that would give us a good picture on where we are in terms of our leadership and HR community. And I'm happy that many of you, again, not the majority, but close to it. But if we combine, 7, 8, 9, 10, definitely that is more than the majority. So I'm happy. And a lot of us are actually saying we're at 8. But of course, this is a long journey. We don't need to stay at 8 because we can definitely grow more and more. So this is a very, very encouraging picture we're seeing here for our first poll, and
Sir
appreciate it.
Eric,
Yes, go
let
ahead.
me just share for our live stream
Oh,
participants.
wow, yes,
I
of
am
course.
seeing a lot of them are typing. The average number is 8 as well
Oh, wow, that's
from
great.
our live stream participants. They're
That's
also
like
very
very
active.
healthy. Yes. Thank you so much. And Kate, thank you for making sure that the voices of everyone, regardless of the channel, is actually heard. And as you know, in our sessions here in Ariva, no one gets left behind. And that's a kind of environment that we are fostering, a very inclusive one. So with that, thank you so much. And we're ending the poll as of this point. And I really appreciate all of your participation and engagement. And that gives you a great sense as well. And why is this important? Because the next slide would just really tell you, aside from the numbers that we have already provided you in the first few slides, that 93% of employees were more productive after an EQ training. So I hope that this somehow contributes to that. No? So hopefully many of us would be inspired, would be able to apply what they are taking away from this session, though it might be a very short session. Hopefully that would provide you a bit of resolution as well on your end on what next step you are keen to do. And then we are also seeing that 70% of managers with high EQ actually retain 70% of their employees for 5 years or more. Can you just imagine if all of our leaders are actually high on EQ, we will have less problems in terms of our attrition and would definitely increase our retention numbers. So these numbers are very compelling, enough business case for us to really work on individually on our EQ and also inspire our leaders to really develop this very important competency or skill. All right. So now, just to review, and also just to get your perspective as well, we discussed the 4 components of emotional intelligence. And the next poll would actually ask you, which component of EQ do you find most challenging? There you go. Is it A, self-awareness? Is it B, self-management? Is it social awareness? And is it D, relationship management? Which is the most difficult for you? Which is the most difficult for you? And of course, this also goes to our Facebook Live participants, right? You can just type in as needed so that we'll be able to bring you in and make sure that your voices also echoes the different halls of our learning journey. Ayan. So, nako, so parang talagang runaway winner si relationship management. Talaga namang napakahirap, no? And the fact that you will have to be aware is already self-aware is already very difficult. How much more is actually influencing and management relationships around you? So definitely, no? So different perspective siya kasi parang napakahirap talaga. Even self-awareness. To some people, that might be the most difficult one. And in fact, that is for 14% of our participants right now. But not surprising that relationship management, according to the vast majority of our participants, would be the one to beat, right? So relationship management is the most difficult. Ako, I would say it's self-management because still now I'm grappling with my appetite, with my addiction to food. Talaga ang hirap, Kate, no? If size or if weight would be the question, I would not say that I do have a great self-management because my size would actually give me away. So
I
needless,
am I am choosing the same also, Sir Eric. Self-management for me as well.
yeah, it's very
But
difficult.
I am seeing from our live streams, majority of them typed relationship management.
That's very true. And in fact, that is the pinnacle of our emotional intelligence state, no? Yes, because definitely before you get to that level, you would have to go through self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, no? So even those are very strong hurdles already. And when you reach the D, it is something that, mahirap na nga yung makontrol mo yung sarili mo, makakontrol mo ba yung ibang tao? So maybe that's the rationale behind that as well. And I really appreciate the very strong engagement we're seeing live on Facebook and even on Zoom. So please do continue because we still have 2 more modules to go. And this is how we are capping the first module. So let's move on to the next module, which is basically focusing on Leaders Toolkit. So if you are a leader or trying to become a leader or soon to be leader, or probably you wish your leader is like this, you can take away some of these tools so that you can also share with your colleagues and fellow leaders as well, right? So it's very important. We have seen a lot of statistics in terms of when a leader has high EQ, it means there's higher retention. If a leader has high EQ, it means higher productivity and revenue. If a leader has high EQ, it means there's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of creativity in the workplace. A lot of burden for our leaders to really move ahead and make sure that they are developing this skill. No? So let's move on. What do we mean by the toolkit for leaders? And the very first toolkit that we'll be introducing is the concept of empathy. There you go. So many of you, in fact, shared that when you think about emotional intelligence, the first thing that comes to mind actually is empathy. And that is definitely a lot, that makes a lot of sense for sure. No? So when we talk about empathy, much of this is actually mirrored or displayed when we interact with people, when we listen to them. So that's why there is the concept of what we call active listening. So how do we do this and how do we display a lot of empathy? We listen to understand, because the main fault or the main trap that actually that we most of us would fall into is the trap of listening to reply or to respond, right? That is not what active listening is all about. Active listening is really trying to understand where the person is coming from. And there's a lot of empathy there, or required empathy there, right? So much so that even the things that are not volunteered, that are not shared, are actually heard. No? Very, very magical, this kind of experience. No? I'm sure you have been experiencing this as well, that when you really pay close attention with a lot of empathy in that connection, you are actually understanding and hearing things that are not actually said by the other party, only because you feel the emotions, you feel the situation, or probably you have gone through the same scenario or circumstances, right? So to further amplify this, active listening by virtue of empathy is really focusing only on the speaker, not on your phone, not on your Teams, or not in your chat group, really on the person. Because you know what? The prime most currency nowadays is, of course, not just skills, but really attention. Attention has been really, really a dwindling currency, so much so that the average attention of our Gen Zs and soon to be a Gen Alpha would only result in about 5.4 seconds. Diba? So, 5.4 seconds, well, I scroll down, swipe left, swipe right. So that's how we're seeing it. So that's why you really need to pay close attention. That's when you know that the person really cares for you, when you are being given utmost attention. Okay. And when needed, you provide the right feedback. It's not just a feedback of just, summarizing, reiterating. That's the old school of thought in terms of active listening. It is really all about providing fresh perspective. It's all about validating with a lot of emotion, with a lot of care, right? So as to clarify, or you can even paraphrase as needed. And when you're paying attention, you don't necessarily interrupt unless very needed, because it will aid in the mental processing of the other party. No, only when needed do you interrupt, but otherwise, the rule of thumb is let them have that space, let them have that time to really share their thoughts and feelings. No, so that's how we are able to really amplify empathy in the workplace. So this is very good because you cannot just apply this in the workplace. It actually works with your spouses, with your partners, with your children, with your mother, your father, and the most significant people around you. And if you really love them, you pay them with your attention. Yeah. So, okay. Good. Next slide. So if you want to actually practice this. So this is just a very practical and very actionable example. No, so if you want to amplify empathy in your conversation, you can just say, so what I'm understanding is, and then you put in what your sort of thought about what you heard, and then you validate, because you want to make sure that the person who shared that with you is the last one who would actually validate what you have heard, no? So give them that right to validate or negate whatever you are saying, right? So that gives them a lot of importance. The next one is, so these are the magic phrases that you can just use, no? And they create magic whenever you have these kinds of conversation. So whenever you're sensing some emotional undertones with the one that you're talking, you can say this, no? It seems like you're feeling empty. Seems like you're feeling disappointed. It seems like you're feeling lost, right? Because of, fill this word, because making sure that there is a reason behind that, so that you can also validate. And then again, the magic validation process. Did I get that right? Did I capture that correctly? Is that correct? Right? So those are very important. So remember, every time the first two statements really ends up with a validation phrase, right? So that is good. So again, make sure that you take this away, because this will create magic. I assure you, whenever you do this right. And the last example is, can you tell me more? So this is really important, because this is really an indication that you are interested, right? Because otherwise, people will just say, okay, ano pa. So you naman, if you really want to amplify empathy, you can just say, can you tell me more? I'm interested in your perspective. I want to understand the circumstances behind the scenario, right? Or I want to be sure I really understand you. So these are all magic words and magic phrases that really bring to life humanity and empathy in the workplace. Not just in the workplace, actually, in your most valuable relationships, right? So make sure that you include this in your armory of social interaction bullets, right? Good. So let's move on. How would you respond to the following? So this is an exercise. So let me just see whether you're able to understand what we have gone through so far, and also applying this. Now, I have provided you some examples. So I have two examples. Let's just focus first on the first one. So this is the scenario, and I would be asking you by typing in the chat box or in the comment section what you would be doing, or what statement you would actually be delivering. So the first scenario is, you gave a colleague some constructive feedback on a shared project. Again, constructive, huh? So that's good. So when we say constructive, it's edifying. It's not necessarily just a negative feedback, no? So that is the assumption. And they tell you, I don't see why you're criticizing my work. I think it was fine. Okay, so very close-minded and feeling mo na hurt din siya. How would you, constructive in the chat GPT, right? So how would you reply to reduce defensiveness and keep the conversation productive? Kasi it could end there kasi I think it was fine. Okay? How would you respond so that you will be able to continue the conversation and also make the person that you're coming from a caring perspective, right? That you only want the best for that person. Ayan. So si Laika is saying, I acknowledge their feelings, right? Good. Show empathy, yes, but how? And then focus on solutions and future prevent. Good. So more or less, this is your generic avoid blaming or judgment. Very good. So this is more or less your generic framework. Can you give me an actual statement that you will say for the first example? What would be a good actual statement? So I'm looking for an actual sentence. Ayan, okay, so Jocelyn is trying. So she says, I hear you. I do I do think it is fine. However, I think we can do much better. All right. So that's good. That's good. Right. Okay. That's good. That's good. And that's the right in the right direction. Because why? You are acknowledging the person. You are not negating. You are also not, you're sort of agreeing as well that this is a good work, right? Good, right? And what is the way forward? How can we do things better, right? And you can also do a coaching scenario here that instead of a statement, you actually ask, right? So instead of just saying that I think we can do much better, maybe you can say, I hear you. I do believe that there are some good points there. I would like to understand how could you have done things better from your perspective. So that could also work because you are not saying that it's not bad, but how can he improve that next time around? At least you're also giving the opportunity to that person, and it makes it less defensive in that sense, right? Good. Okay. All right. I understand. Do you have something in mind to meet the target? Good. That's also very good from Mary Rose. Okay. Amalia saying, what you did is good, but I think it is better if you do it like this. Okay. That's also good, Amalia. But again, perhaps it would be better if you tweak it to become a question rather than a recommendatory statement from your end. No, that softens things much better. No. So from Nadine, I understand how you feel. Okay. Your work was fine, but I think we can do something to make it better. Let me know your thoughts. Oh, so that's also good, no? That's also good, but just soften the blow in terms of, underscoring that there is a problem there, no? So make him think what is the problem, and then let him create the solution on how to make it better. Right? Good. So I understand from Roberto. I understand that what you feel, and you did good. You could, but I'm just suggesting to make the best yours. Okay, right? Okay, so similar input. How do you soften it and to make sure that it's really more of a suggestion or a coaching technique rather than recommending? Yan. Okay. All right. Another one. Can you tell me more about the project? Maybe I'm missing some things in order for my feedback to be taken in a positive note. Oh, that's also good because you're asking, am I missing anything or whatever information probably that I need to have so that I could have a holistic perspective. All right. Everything's very good. Thank you so much for your participation. I really appreciate this a lot here. So we don't have a lot of time to cover everything, but I really appreciate all of the input. Let's now move on to the next example. Your team member was assigned a key. Okay. So, that's good na pareho na natin tinignan, ano? So good. So one good thing, in terms of the framework, and this has been working for me for a very long time, is the framework of SBI. No, so SBI has been a very helpful tool in my, for more than 15 years already since I was introduced to this in the Center for Creative Leadership. And it never fails to amaze me because I think, the SBI situation, behavior, and impact model in giving feedback has been very helpful for one reason. Because not one reason, but for the major reason of it focuses on observable actions, not on character, and it answers the question how. All right. So just to emphasize the point, and I don't know whether you have done or you have heard me discuss this before, no? And I hope that you're seeing me. Let me just also see whether give more space. Okay. I would like to demonstrate a behavior. And paunahan na lang kayo, no? Put in the chat box whatever you think I am doing. So this would just underscore why SBI is a good framework for giving feedback. No? So we're saying the observable behavior. So I will be asking you, what is my observable behavior that I will be doing now? Take a look. Take a look. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Paunahan na lang yan sa chat box. What am I doing? Okay, what am I doing? All right, ang dami nga talaga nagpaunahan. Very good. Many of you, probably 90, 95%, and probably 98%, kasi wala pa ako nakikitang iba no? Butterfly, good. No, freestyle swimming actually, yung tinatry kong imitate. But yes, actually, only one person got this right so far, no? Stretching. I guess the nearest one, and I would like to commend the person, and she is Teresa May Emian. Thank you, Teresa, because what did I say? What I said is observable action. I did not say na kung ano man, di ba? Observable action. I am not swimming. I'm actually fully clothed. There is no water. So this only goes to show that our brains are wired in a way to interpret behavior. So perhaps ask yourself, are you giving the right or the concrete feedback using observable behavior o na-process nyo na? May judgment na kayo when you provide that kind of feedback. So be careful because this is the reason why I love SBI, because SBI only allows you to give feedback using observable actions or behavior. Yan. So I hope that makes sense kasi tayong mga tao, pinanganak tayo talaga na judgmental. So we should be aware of that so that we'll be able to manage our relationships better. Yung iba din, di ba? Yung iba sabi, oh, bakit ka nag-walk out? Yung pala, kailangan nilang pumunta sa washroom, di ba? Dahil may matinding pangangailangan. And many of us would probably say na, oh, yung interpretation mo doon, walk out na agad, di ba? So there you go, no? So that's where we really need to develop greater emotional intelligence, not to immediately interpret or judge people, no? So only identify observable behavior because yung mga tipong swimming, no? I can definitely negate, no? Hindi ako nag-swimming. Pero pag sinabi nyo, you are moving your arms, I cannot negate that because I am in fact moving my arms, no? So dun sa taong dali-daling tumayo at pumunta sa washroom, pwede mo sabihin you hurriedly stood up and walked out immediately, right? Pwede mo sabihin, instead of saying, why did you walk out? Why did you whatever, di ba? You're very rude. No? So that is the beauty of SBI because we focus on observable behavior. And that is also a trait of an emotionally intelligent person because hindi sila prone to create interpretation, false interpretation, or even false judgment. Okay, good. Thank you. And I hope that was a learning experience for many of us. Next slide, please.
Sir Eric, would it be okay if we go on our break?
Oh,
Or
yes.
you need to finish the next slide?
No, we're just perfect. So we can definitely move to our break so that I will be able to see them immediately. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you so much. Thank you. So, good afternoon again, everyone. And yes, we are now going on our break. Now, I mentioned a while ago that we are having an activity this afternoon, and it involves everyone who's a part of the Ariva Academy Viber community. So, just in case you were not able to scan the QR code a while ago, let us show it again. Can we show it to them? Tech team, can we show it to them? There you go. The QR code there. So scan this QR code, everyone. Scan it right now. Because we are going to give away GCash prizes. And kailangan talaga na nasa loob kayo ng ating Viber community. Once you are inside our Viber community, this is what you have to do. You have to look for our Viber community admin, RV Ariva. Sa kanya lang kayo magsisend nung message that I am looking for, okay? Mahihingin ako, and kay RV Ariva nyo lang isasend. You have to look for the Viber community admin, RV Ariva. You will not be able to chat in the Viber community except if it is a private message to RV Ariva. Ayan. So, very exact, okay? RV Ariva only. And sabi ko nga, mamimigay kami ng GCash prizes this afternoon. We are going to look for 2 winners. And each winner will be receiving 200 pesos sa inyong GCash agad. I hope everyone is ready because we're going to play a game, and the game is called... It's called Guess the Movie. Ayan. This is exciting and it's very easy. You will be seeing short clips or short trailers of some movies. And this is what you have to do. You have to give me the complete and correct title of that movie. Kailangan isend yung correct title na yan kay RV Ariva only. If you send it via the live stream chat box or via the Zoom chat box, sayang yung effort because I will be disregarding that. Ang babasahin ko lang will be those answers that are sent to RV Ariva. So everyone get ready. But this first clip, wala pa siyang prize. This is just our trial run. Just to make sure na alam ninyo ang inyong gagawin, let's start guessing the title of this movie. Okay. You can see how fast it is moving. So, ay nakikita ninyo lahat kung gaano kabilis ang mga answers pumapasok. Here are the answers that you sent. B2 Spirit, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick. Okay. Mission Impossible. Other answers, Tap Gun. Okay. So, there's Top Gun and there's Tap Gun. There's Top Gun, 1 word, Top Gun, 2 words. So those are the answers that I'm seeing. Let's reveal the correct title of that movie. It is Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun is 2 words. Okay, a lot of you got it correct, pero merong iba nagkamali lang ng spelling or hindi nilagyan ng space yung Top Gun. So let me remind everyone that we are looking for the exact title. Okay? Kailangan kung ano ang tamang spelling. That is what you will be giving me. No extra words. No missing words also. Okay? So everyone, this next clip is worth 200 pesos. Let's watch it. Okay. Again, you can see ang bibilis ninyong mag-send ng answers. I'll try to catch up. The answers that I'm seeing are Space Jam, Toon Squad. Okay. Let me just go back. Meron Space Jam 1 word, meron Space Jam 2 words. Again, reminding everyone who are sending their answers na hindi sa ating Viber community, sayang talaga yung effort for you to type there. Why don't you just really go to our Viber community and look for RV Ariva so you can send your answers there because yun lang ang aking i-consider. And I will be revealing now the correct title. That is... And yes, it is Space Jam. Ang dami sa inyo na nakakuha. But the first one talaga, ang bilis niyang mag-type. We have our first winner. And that is Paul Toledo. Congratulations, Paul! You were the first one na nakapagbigay ng correct answer. So, Paul, this is what you have to do, okay? Again, to RV Ariva, send your GCash details, your GCash account number, and of course, your GCash account name. Wait for your prize because we will be sending it to you in a little while. Now, Paul, dahil nanalo ka na, you will not be able to join the game anymore. Para naman, mabigyan ng chance yung iyong mga co-participants in getting the last 200 pesos. Again, congratulations, Paul. We'll be waiting for your GCash details. And to the rest of our participants, may isa pang 200 pesos. It might be yours. Let's watch this.
They're calling an army.
I've seen firsthand, these things really are.
Bumblebee, there is only one way to end this war. You must protect Earth and its people.
Take it down!
My back, me!
Okay, I think you're able to read the answers as well if talagang malinaw ang mga mata. But let me read the answers for you. Transformer, Transformers, Transformers, Bumblebee. There's Bumblebee 1 word, Bumblebee 2 words. Other answers, let me just go back, try to catch up. Transformers, there. Majority of you type Transformers. And Bumblebee, although we have different spellings of Bumblebee here, merong isa lang talaga yung word, merong magkadikit, merong magkahiwalay yung Bumblebee nila. Transformers, Bumblebee. Other answers, let me just try to catch up with everyone else. So far, those are the answers that I am seeing. I think we can now reveal the title of that movie. And yes, it is Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is just one word. But the first one, ito, ang bilis niya rin na i-type ang kanyang answer. We have our second and last winner, that is Lucille Fajardo. Congratulations, Lucille! Lucille, this afternoon you are 200 pesos richer, so please send your GCash details to RV Ariva here in the chat box. Aantayin namin ang GCash ninyo ni Paul because we will be sending your prize in a little while. To everyone else who joined the game, I hope you guys had fun and enjoyed that. Now, I will be moving on to my other announcements before I give the floor back to our speaker. First, stay on top of our insights and updates. Stay connected with Ariva Academy. You can join Ariva Academy's Facebook group. You can also like our Facebook page. You can follow us in LinkedIn. And also you can visit our website, ariva.com.ph. And marami pa rin talaga akong nakita na nag-send ng answers nila elsewhere, not through Viber. So just in case you are not yet a part of the Viber community, let me just give another chance for you to join. So get your gadgets and scan the QR code para sa next game that we will have. May chance na kayong manalo ng GCash prizes. So here again is the QR code for the Viber community of Ariva Academy. Once you scan the QR code, instantly nasa loob na kayo ng ating Viber community. Now, don't keep that gadget yet because you will be scanning another QR code. There you go. This time it is for the Ariva Academy Facebook group. So there you go. Scan the Ariva Academy Facebook group, scan the QR code, and join the Ariva Academy Facebook group. Looking forward to welcoming you there. Who knows, you might get good rates for other upcoming learning events. And this one is the last QR code that I will be sharing this afternoon. This is for the HRD Academy Facebook group. I'm sorry, this is not the last QR code, but rather the last for the Facebook group. This one is for the HRD Academy Facebook group. Just in case we have HR practitioners here as in our group right now, scan the QR code, connect with your fellow HR practitioners, and connect with the HR community through HRD Academy Facebook group. Now, if ever you have missed the past 3 live webinars that we started offering last 2020, all you have to do to be able to watch them is go to our YouTube channels, subscribe also to Ariva Academy and Ariva Talk, so you will always be updated with our free live webinars. And okay, this one is the last QR code, but this one is for our GCash. As I've mentioned, we started offering the free live webinars last 2020. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and this became our advocacy already. So we want to continue offering this free live webinars. And for those of you who would like to share their blessings to us to help us continue this mission, you can scan the QR code that you are seeing. Or if you're watching us via Facebook Live, you can also send stars there. We'll greatly appreciate all the help that you will share with us. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are interested in inviting our speaker to conduct a program exclusive for your whole team or even for your whole company, Ariva Academy can help you out with that. Just let us know what topic you need. Here are some of the programs that we offer, but take note, we have a lot more than that, okay? So this is what you have to do. You can give us a call or you can send us an email, and then let us know what topic you have in mind so that we can help you partner with the right speaker under Ariva Speakers Bureau for that. Let me invite you to some of our upcoming learning events. We have on July 15, we have Contracting and Subcontracting Demystified. That is the first topic. And the second topic we have for that day is Revised Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act number 11058. That is on July 16. The next one will be the following day, July 17. 2 topics again, tax saving strategies and managing tax assessment. Now on July 18, transformational leadership in action. July 23, we have effective performance planning and appraisal for high impact teams. We also have 2 topics that will be on July 24, the hiring edge and exceptional employee onboarding. Those 2 topics will be discussed on July 24. On July 25, advanced MS Excel training. And then on July 30, the 5S and safety protocols advantage. Now, we have another free live webinar. This will be on August 1. But this free live webinar is the second part of the series for a cause free live webinars. This one will be with Attorney Apollo Sangalang. He will be our speaker, but because this is a series for a cause, it is also a fundraising for his kidney transplant. So Attorney Apollo Sangalang will be our speaker, but he will also be the beneficiary for this fundraising. Lawful termination in the workplace, just causes, authorized causes, and due process explained. That will be his topic on August 1. We are encouraging everyone to join us for this free live webinar series for a cause. Now on August 6th, Labor and Employment Laws 101. August 7, create more Act compliance strategies for businesses. On August 8, Leading with EQ, Cultivating Emotional Intelligence for Stronger Leadership. You might want to join us. This will be for one whole day. Again, this will be on August 8th. Free live webinar, again, this time on August 12th. Proactive Solutions for Workplace Behavioral and Disciplinary Issues. Now on August 14th, Practical Project Management for Everyone. Supervisory Leadership Excellence, that will be our topic on August 15. Now on August 19, another free live webinar for everyone. Cyber Crime, Cyber Libel, and Online Harassment. Legal Insights under RA 10175. Interesting and timely, and that will be on August 19. Now on August 20, Fundamentals of Cash Flow and Working Capital Management, Cash Flow Analysis, Budgeting and Forecasting. Anti-money laundering essentials will be discussed in the morning and in the afternoon. Electronic evidence and documentation in workplace investigations. That is our topic on August 22. Now on August 27, we have appropriate management of books of accounts and other accounting records, and the Taxpayer's Survival Guide, Common Mistakes and Winning Strategies to Avoid Tax Errors. And on August 28th, Next Gen People Analytics, Empowering Agile HR Leaders with AI-driven insights. So for all the programs that I have mentioned, if ever you're interested in joining any of those programs, this is what you have to do. Go to our website, ariva.com.ph, so that you can register as early as now. And now, let me say thank you to our friends from Daily Fix. Daily Fix is our major sponsor for all of our learning events, and they are from Apply Ace Corporation. If ever you get to join our on-site learning events, you will be receiving Daily Fix. They are sharing this to all of our on-site participants. So, Apply Ace Corporation and Daily Fix, thank you so much for sharing these treats with everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I won't be taking much of your time anymore because I know we still have a lot to discuss this afternoon. And get your questions ready. You can type them in the chat box as early as now, so that later, in a little while, we'll be doing our Q&A and we will be reading your questions. But for now, here again is our speaker, Mr. Eric Riego de Dios.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate, and powering through. This afternoon, let's move on to Module 3. This is all about fostering team success through psychological safety. Let's move ahead. There you go. We are now on our Module 3, and this is a very interesting topic. Let's move on to the next slide. This is how we will be defining psychological safety. Psychological safety is fostering a workplace environment where challenging discussions and ambitious goals are approached with understanding and encouragement without fear of retaliation or vengeance, di ba? Yung iba sa atin takot magsalita, mag-provide ng recommendations, input, or to share an opposing perspective or view, no? So pag ganun yung situation, that environment doesn't have psychological safety, no? Whereas the opposite is kung free mag-share, kung mag-voice ka, sa palagay mo, hindi ka babalikan ng boss mo, yun, may psychological safety yun, no? So let's move ahead, and next slide will tell us what psychological safety actually provides, no? You can say, as mentioned earlier, no? You feel safe to speak up. You open to admitting your mistake, di ba? Pag yung iba dito, pag nagkamali ka, parang tinatago mo kasi pag share mo yung pagkakamali mo, alam mong babalikan ka at talagang mapaparusahan ka. Iba pag may psychological safety. The more that there is psychological safety, you own up to your mistakes only because you know that that would be a learning point for you. And your leaders will not necessarily look at it in a very negative way, but only in a very developmental perspective, right? So iba naman pag lagi-lagi mong inuulit yung pagkakamali. So that's different, no? So mga first-time mistakes, we treat them really as learning opportunities. And when we have psychological safety, we share more ideas. We don't fear, no, magmumukha akong tanga pag shinare ko to. No, that's not it. Sharing ideas really is a great testament to the psychological safety of any workplace. And I hope this is I hope this we have created a psychologically safe space that you will also be asking me and asking us questions, no? For any information, any confusion, or any clarification, I would be challenging you to take up the opportunity to ask us questions because again, this is a safe space. Now, moving on. Our Zoom poll right now is again engaging you, and my question right now is, from a rating of 1 to 10, I don't know how this was structured. Tell us, do you feel psychologically safe in your environment right now? Okay? Or baka hindi mo kailangan sabihin not you personally, but do you feel that your workplace is environmentally safe for everyone? Ayan. Ayan, very good. So, very good, no? Yung may 10 tayo, extremely likely. Very good. Appreciate that. Aha. I appreciated the perspective here. My takeaway here is our environments are overall psychologically safe. So anything beyond 7 would be a good one. So if we add 26, 15, 22, that is the vast majority. Okay. So let's I don't know, change naman our perspective. Let's move on to the second question, because the second question really is focusing on, do you make others feel psychologically safe? Kaya pala hindi safe ang iyong workplace because of you, no? So you have to make sure that you do your part in creating a psychologically safe environment. We all have a part in this, no? Because hindi mo lang pwedeng sabihin sa boss. Of course, yung mga bosses, leaders, managers, they have a big role to play. But each of us actually has a role to play. So you cannot just point fingers because every one of us is responsible in creating a psychologically safe environment. All right, thank you. Whatever your input is giving me a lot of rejoicing kasi you are really doing your part in terms of psychological safety. Very good. Appreciate all of your input. Let's move ahead. No, what are the marks of emotionally quotient or emotionally intelligent leaders? No, let's just have a summary. Next slide. We will see the summary of this. Ayan. So when our leaders are emotionally intelligent, they are able to, one, model vulnerability. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng vulnerability? Yung konsepto ng vulnerability is actually popularized by one of the thought leaders. Her name is Brené Brown. And she said that vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity and innovation. Di ba? Ang galing. If our leaders are showing vulnerability, meaning pag nagkamali sila, do they own up to those mistakes? Do they apologize? And do they say sorry? Di ba? So, yun, when leaders admit their own mistakes or uncertainties, they set the tone for openness, no? Kasi nakaka-relate yung mga tao. Lahat tayo can be vulnerable at many stages in our working journey. So we really admire leaders who are able to show vulnerability in the workplace because wala na talagang leader na infallible, na all-knowing. Walang ganon. Everyone would have a role to play in providing solutions. No, hindi lang nanggagaling sa leader siya. So when the leader says he doesn't know or I apologize, I made a mistake, the more that you should be emulating that leader. No? So yes, that's one indication of an EQ-driven leader. Number 1, encouraging curiosity. Yung leader nyo ba, nagstay na lang ba siya sa kung anong alam natin, kung anong alam gawin? Siya ba yung una nyong nadidinig na, we have been doing that, hindi natin kailangan palitan kasi hindi naman siya broken eh. But mind you, no, we don't have to stay there because there might be new ways of working, better ways of working. The world is changing. In fact, change itself is changing. It's becoming faster and faster. So you have to make sure that you are, if you are a leader, that you have a very curious perspective. Huh? Ano ba yung leader na to? They show genuine interest in team members thinking, what do you think? What is your suggestion? What is your recommendation? Can we work together to come up with a cohesive strategy on this? That is the kind of leader that I would like to work with. Okay? Next one, respond productively. This is the opposite. Sorry, hindi lang yan. No? So go back. I'm just summarizing it. Go back. to the last slide, please. Let's backtrack. Yeah, there you go. So this is the opposite of responding productively, is the blame game. A productive response shifts focus from blame to solutions, no? We have to reinforce safety and learning. So kung laging pagdidiskitahan ka, hahanapan ka ng kamalian, would you venture into providing a different perspective to make your recommendations felt and heard? Syempre hindi. So leaders with EQ are vulnerable, they're very curious, and they respond productively, not in a blame game way. All right. So given this, we will be fast tracking to our next Mentimeter. Let's go to the next Mentimeter. Let's move forward 4 slides ahead. Let's move ahead 4 slides. Move forward. There you go. Thank you. So in this Mentimeter, this will be our last Mentimeter. In 1 or 2 words, what is one action that you can take this week to increase psychological safety in your team? Sabi natin, this is not just the responsibility of your leaders. You have a role to play. Are you also encouraging psychological safety in your workplace? Ayan. Grabe si Jason. Sign na daw to para mag-resign. Wag naman. So, yeah, Jason, think about it because think whether that is an emotionally intelligent decision. Okay. So, wow, sabi dyan, listen. Okay. Connect. Be aware. Very good, no? Practice empathy. Collaborate. Accept. Mediate. Listen. Be mindful. Understand. Ask questions. Appreciate. Very good. There's a lot of things that you can definitely do. Do you provide constructive feedback? And avoid blame game. Very good. I really appreciate all of those input. I hope that you really commit to all of these because these things are very actionable and you can definitely do this on your end. All right. So with that, let us wrap things up and make sure that we're all ready for our grand quiz. But before the grand quiz, let's make our final conclusions. All right? So let's just summarize all of the takeaways that we have for today. Let's go back to our slide. And in our slide, we will see that our conclusion would be just 3. No? I think these are the main takeaways that I would encourage you to actually bring to life in your respective workplaces or even in your respective home. No? Di pa tapos yung ano natin. Kindness. I love it. Kindness talaga is a very scarce resource nowadays. Learn to listen. Long quiz, open notes. Yes. That is true. No? So, but before that, let's just wrap things up. So in conclusion, I want you to remember these 3 things. The first one, the components of EQ are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. We built a lot of foundations there. So hopefully you will keep that in mind. Next is SBI. This is a great way to provide feedback without misinterpreting or misjudging situation, behavior, and impacts. Last one, developing EQ will foster a culture of trust, accountability, and innovation, which are all essential for strong leaderships and long-term company success. So the next slide, please. We will also provide you a 7-day EQ challenge. Ayan, no? So take this home, no? Challenge yourself by picking one specific action, discuss, and practice it for the next week. Di ba sabi nyo, communicate. Don't blame game. Yan yung mga sinabi natin. Bring that to life. So for example, no, for the next 7 days before responding in a meeting, I will pause and ask myself, am I seeking to understand or just to be heard? That's a good question to always ask. And another example, for the next 7 days, I'll make sure to acknowledge at least one person's idea in every meeting I'm in. That's very good. The acknowledgement is the start of empathy. Next one, this week when giving feedback, I will use the SBI model. Very good. Now, those are very actionable. Right. And with that, I guess we're all ready for our quizzes. So let's move on to our quizzes. You can join via the QR code. So maybe our tech team could already show the QR code for our quizzes before we move on to our question and answer. Let's do this.
Okay, one moment, Sir Eric. We're just having some technical difficulties, but it will be shown in a little while. So I hope it gets
Sure.
shown.
Guys, no, so because I have questions for you in our
There.
chat, there you go. You can also start keying in your own personal questions in our chat box as mentioned by Kate, right? All right, so with that, let's join by the QR code. And this is the code. All right, this is exciting because I think the winner of this game will also have something coming from Ariva. There you go. All right. I'm excited because this will also showcase actually the learnings. There you go. Let's do this. I'm so excited. People are coming in.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes.
People are coming in. I'm so excited.
Just a reminder, please make sure you take a screenshot of your screen name. So just in case you are the winner, you can really prove it that that's you. Okay.
Yes. Kailangan walang identity theft dito. Lahat tayo should be emotionally intelligent to assume our own identity. Ayan. All right. Nako, 152 siguro. I guess, Kate, when we reach 200, we can definitely start our quiz. All right. Sige.
Almost. Encouraging everyone, whether you're in Zoom or the live streams.
Yes.
If you're not able to scan the QR code, you can type in the code 407361. Join myquiz.com.
Ayan na, Kate, 198. Oh, 200 na.
There.
So, start. Let's go. Let's go. Wow, so showing a lot of participants. Okay. Let's start. Wow. Well, there are changes in the leaderboard, no? Wow, let's see. So far, MSGM. No, parang magbabago pa to, no? Wow, so we're gaining a bit of traction. We're just showing the top 5. I don't know whether we can show the top 10 there, just to create a bit more excitement. Because some of our participants all focusing on their mobile phones. We're just seeing a lot of, shifting in terms of the leaderboard, no? So let's see. Oh, let's see. Almost there. Wow, so si MSGMS with the 10,120 points. Wow. There's still time. There's still time to catch up. Wow, so we're showing you the questions. But yes, we have more people now in the leaderboard. Let's see. Well, 87% class accuracy. It means that they're answering correctly, Kate, no? So this is a very intelligent bunch. Wow. And they're really focused, kids. You cannot disturb them. Will there be some shifts? Or will MSGMS, will he take or she take this away? All right. In the interest of time, Kate, we will be counting down now to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Congratulations, MSGMS.
MSGMS. Congratulations.
I know that wasn't very easy, so I really am commending you for staying there consistently in the top spot, Kate. No, I think after a few questions, he didn't let go. No, I don't know whether it's a he or a she, but
Yes, and or kung nandito ba siya sa Zoom or
Yes, or
one of our
baka-
live stream participants.
Yes, congratulations, MSGMS. Also would like to also acknowledge the second placer, who is C, and also the third placer, who is Claudine. Wow. Our top 3 participants. I hope you had fun and also applied some cognitive skills in the process. So, ang mga tao dito, Kate, hindi lang sila matatalino, emotionally intelligent pa sila ngayon. All right. So with that, thank you so much. And I am actually happy to receive questions and other suggestions or recommendations, because this is a free and psychologically safe environment.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we will move to our Q&A portion. So for those of you na merong mga questions or clarifications, type them in the chat box so that we can read them. Okay? But I have a few questions here already from some of our participants.
Sure.
Let me read the first one. Okay, this one. How do you differentiate emotional intelligence from personality traits? Can EQ be learned even by naturally stoic leaders?
Oh, yes. So one thing's for sure, of course, there are always 2 philosophies or schools of thought when it comes to leadership. And similarly, you can apply it, right? So in fact, if you would like to also explore this school of thought of growth mindset versus fixed mindset, it is very similar to that kind of a framework, where in the growth mindset, you believe that you can learn things, and challenges, trials, or failures can only make you better, versus a fixed mindset that you are born this way, you can never change, kung ano ka, yan ka na lang, no? So I am actually more biased for the growth mindset. And I believe everyone could actually become better people, better human beings, can amplify humanity and empathy, not only in the workplace, but also in the community. So I am a firm believer that even stoic leaders, they might be stoic right now, and there might be reasons why they are displaying such a behavior, but it doesn't mean that they are not emotionally intelligent, or it doesn't mean that they would stay behaving that way. So I believe in the eternal pliability of the human soul, and we are actually asked by God to transform from glory to glory, and that also applies in emotional intelligence.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'll move to the next question that we have. Again, participants, if you have a question, don't be shy. Libreng magtanong. Libre pa rin ang magtanong.
Psychologically safe. No? There will
Send
be
your
no retaliation for asking
send your questions, or just in case the question is sensitive in nature, you can send it directly to me so that when I read it, I will not be reading your name. So all those that are sent to me privately, I am not reading their names. Ayan. So here's the next question. Okay. A lot of I'm seeing a lot of questions na very similar ang theme. Okay. What is the difference of leading with EQ, with IQ, and social quotient? So what's the difference between those three?
Actually, we can actually, ang dami-dami types of intelligence. Di ba sabi natin, multiple intelligence. But to just answer the very few that you have identified, yung social quotient is very similar to emotional intelligence when you reach the level of social awareness and social relationships. So very similar, almost no difference, as long as you're able to navigate and adjust accordingly, depending on the environment, depending on the people, and depending on how you're sensing the psychological social landscape. No? So very similar. Yung IQ or yung cognitive skills natin is essentially your ability to sense patterns, compute, your vocabulary, your mathematical skills. So those that are traditionally learned in the schools, siya yung sinasabi nating cognitive intelligence. Kung mabilis kang mag-solve, kung madami kang trigang alam, madami mong facts and information that can easily retrieve from your mind, yun, matalino ka. You are able to remember yung capital of Namibia and whatever else, no? So all of those things would fall into the category of cognitive or your traditional intellectual quotient. Yung emotional intelligence, as we have mentioned, siya nga yung progression natin, is being able to feel yourself, assess yourself, control yourself, or manage yourself, and also control the environment and the social environment of the people that you're interacting with. No? So masisense mo na emotional intelligence, necessary for you to get a good job or to perform a certain profession, but emotional intelligence will get you promotion, will get you clients, and will keep a very live society and community, and hopefully also uplift communities in the process. So we need a lot of emotional intelligence at play. So right now, when there is AI, madaming magagawa na yung mga cognitive skills. Baka unti-unti, na-diminish na yung requirement for a lot of cognitive skill requirement. Thus, it amplifies the need to further develop our emotional intelligence. Meron pa nga tinatawag na adversity quotient. Ito naman is your ability to face challenges and struggles and learn from it. No? So parang meron ding parang growth mindset coupled with emotional intelligence. Kasi you can never have a high adversity quotient if you are not emotionally intelligent as well.
Okay, thank you for that. I will move on to the next question. Okay, this one. How do you resolve a conflict created by a manager who constantly resorts to manipulative and coercive tactics to achieve his agenda? This manager is narcissistic in nature, but he consistently achieves his sales management goals. Ooh.
You know what? This concept of emotional intelligence and this concept of the infinite game na sabi ni Simon Sinek, yung old school nakikita natin, di ba, Kate, earlier in our presentation, we actually painted the picture of what an old school leadership is versus the future of work requirement when it comes to leadership. Nakita natin doon yung old school na puro brain, puro goals lang, kahit mamatay yung mga tao sa overtime, basta lang ma-achieve yung goals, no? Kasi that is our traditional way of rewarding. Pag naka-sales quota, ikaw na yung bida. Hindi natin masyadong tinatanong, paano ba na-achieve yung sales quota mo? In the process ba, madami kang nasaktan? In the process ba, madaming nagkasakit? In the process ba, madaming nag-attrite? Kasi meron tayong mga measures na hindi natin mini-measure before. But right now, I think we are coming into that shift where we really understand that it is not all about the monetary returns. It's not all about sales or revenue. It's all about making sure that there is sustainability at play. So hindi lang siya profit. So the first P, hindi lang siya profit. may people din siya, and may planet din. So how do we make things very sustainable? And I guess when we amplify emotional intelligence, we definitely become richer, not only from a profit side, but also from a people side and also from a planet side. That's where we are heading. And that's why we're having this kind of a discussion. Because yes, we want to make sure that we are enhancing the right capabilities in the industry and in the landscape of the workforce in the Philippines.
Thank you for that. Okay, I will read the next question. This one is from our participant here. Okay, this is from Mirna. What if the problem or the trigger or sarcastic word started from the manager? How to handle and manage it? Tapos ni-report na agad sa department head at nagbigay pa ng threat na i-report din sa management. I'm also seeing a theme with these questions where their managers are really the one that they're stating it's the problem. And meron pang isa po from Laika, ano ang gagawin doon sa boss na di marunong makipag-usap pero magaling magtampo at mag-report sa HR, nagka-NTE tuloy. Ayan. So very similar ang theme ng ating questions.
So I guess we're also reaping the way that we have reinforced the leadership of the past or yesterday, no? So mga remnants pa siya. So yan yung mga remnants ng parang nilalagay natin yung the types of leaders ng fear, ng takot, ng sigaw, and whatever gets the job done, that would justify the end, di ba? So kahit siguro sinigawan mo, kahit nagawa ka ng false accusations, nireport mo sa HR without the right basis, ito ang mga indication ng leaders na binuo ng makalumang pamamaraan at perspektibo at makalumang pamamaraan ng pagwawagi sa industriya na hindi na siya mag-work sa ngayon. Kasi ngayon mas buo na ang definition natin ng success. Ang success ay hindi lang sa pera, revenue, kita, bonuses. Actually, matuturing ka na success kung masaya ang iyong tahanan, kung hindi ka nakakasakit, ang mga pamilya mo ay nagmamahalan, buo kayo, hindi nagsisigawan. Anuhin mo ang pera kung lahat kayo may sakit, no? So, ganun, no? So, success now is transforming in terms of its own definition, and I'm happy that we're now recognizing as well emotional intelligence as a key factor in delivering a holistic success, not just from monetary perspective, not just in your corporate title perspective, but it's overall, are you able to contribute in the enhancement of the person's self-esteem? Are you able to amplify humanity in the workplace? Are you able to make another person feel better about himself and thus making the environment feel better as well? Because we only can give what we have, no? So that's why I'm encouraging us to talagang tanggalin na natin yung mga old mentality, because the future of work requires a lot more humanity, no? So yung humanity na yun ang magpo-propel sa atin as part of the changing landscape and defining success. This is also how we will be defining the success of the future. Are we able to point the solution without blaming? Or are you able to accept your own fault as well and say sorry to your people? Diba? Instead of parang babaliktarin mo pati i-report pa yung tao, may kasalanan mo pala. So, yun. So we're just experiencing the mistakes that we have actually created in the past. This is not a mistake of just one person. It is just the way we are framed and we defined success before and how we define successful leadership as well. That should be changing right now.
Totally agree, Sir Eric. Thank you for saying that. Maraming salamat for that. Now, before I read the next question, for all of our participants, let me remind everyone that the feedback form is already in the chat box for you to really receive your e-certificate. Make sure you fill out that form and then submit it back to us. So it's in the chat box, not only here in Zoom, but also in the live streams. So make sure you access that. Let us know if you're having trouble with the link so that we can help you. So para talagang sure na marireceive nila ang kanilang e-certificate. So I have a couple more questions before we end because of time constraint, but this one, okay. How can a leader show empathy without being perceived as weak or overly emotional in a tough work environment?
sabi nga natin, di ba, ang isang emotionally intelligent person is able to show vulnerability but not necessarily weakness. And also, we can also, again, the challenge here is the environment and the whole workforce should have a reframing transformation. Kasi how do we define a weak leader ba? Siya ba, ang weak leader ba ay yung kayang magsabi ng sorry? Matuturingan ba nating weak siya? Ang weak leader ba ay yung tipong kayang mag-accept ng mistake nila and own accountability for it? O ang gusto pala nating leader ay yung ako masusunod, ako yung tama, matagal na ako dito, alam ko na yan, at hindi ako nagkakamali. So we also have to have a transformative mindset to really understand what is weakness from strength. And also, the same similar fashion, Kate, that we are trying to redefine success, we also have to redefine strength or weakness in the process. Because I think a leader who is able to accept his mistakes with a lot of accountability and changing his ways moving forward is a lot stronger than a person who's denying his accountability and his mistakes. No? Sino bang mas malakas o sino ba ang mas matatag sa dalawang yon? So that's a question that I am, throwing back to our audience.
Thank you, and I hope they know the answer, Sir Harry. Now, this is our last question, and it is another anonymous question from our participant. This participant is really asking for help. What to do if you don't feel psychologically safe in the workplace, but since you're an active member of the company, you need to perform tasks on a daily basis and deal with people. How to deal with the employees if you don't know who your enemy is because there's someone who is backstabbing you.
It's really hard. So based on what he or she is sharing, essentially what I'm thinking is that is already a non-psychologically safe environment. So with that, I think essentially there has to be a lot of transformation kasi there's nothing you can do if you are not able to control the whole environment. So what I'm saying is always a very balanced approach in terms of risk analysis, no? And of course, if you feel that that is not the organization for you, you also have to assess if that is an emotionally intelligent decision. What is the emotionally intelligent decision? Whether to persist and endure or be an element of change in that environment. So there are a lot of options for you. Or take the other alternatives of exploring new environments that would cater more and would amplify your skills and qualities. No? So I think it's really more of a personal question and assessment whether there is still hope and things could change, or I think as just one person in a sea of people that are already immersed and feel that that is the way to go and that's their culture. Of course, I cannot dictate. So it's really a personal discernment. But if you can still influence, be that ray of light, no, liwanag sa dilim. If you're able to influence it.
There you go. Thank you so much. I hope that really helped our participant. I know I'm still seeing a lot of questions, but because of time constraints, we won't be able to read them anymore. But let me say thank you to all of our participants who asked those questions because we really learned a lot from you also because of the questions that you've asked. And of course, I would really like to say thank you to our speaker, sir. Thank you so much for being very generous with your insights this afternoon. Ang dami ko nababasa from our participants. They are all saying thank you. They really appreciate the program that we had this afternoon. Thank you. And because of that, we'd like to present you with a certificate. Let me read this. And here goes. Applause for our speaker, Mr. Eric Riego de Diaz. Thank you so much, sir. And now, before we really end our free live webinar, let me invite everyone to make sure that their cameras are turned on right now. There you go. Turn on your cameras because we will have a group photo. Again, let me remind all of our participants, whether you are here in Zoom or in the live stream, make sure you accomplish the feedback form so that you will really have your e-certificate. Okay, if you're having trouble with the feedback form, with the link, let us know, send us a message, send us an email so that we can help you out with that. There you go. This time I will be calling our technical director, Direct Jello. Please assist us.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Kate. So, good day to everyone. We're taking 2 shots of group photo for this afternoon session. Okay, I think we're all good. Okay, guys, for first shot, can you show me finger hearts? Or hand hearts, everyone? Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, now for a second shot, how about 2 thumbs up? How about 2 thumbs up, guys? Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, everyone. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Thank you so much, Direct Jello, and to our tech team, and to all of our participants in Zoom, in Facebook, in LinkedIn, and in YouTube. Thank you for spending the afternoon with us. We really appreciate your presence, and we're looking forward to welcoming you again in our future learning events. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay dry. Thank you.
The Academy would like to thank the following win-win partners. Official media partners. Zoe Broadcasting Network. Give Love, Celebrate Life. A to Z. Kompleto tayo. Light TV. God's Channel of Blessings. Light TV Radio. DZJV. Business Mirror, a broader look at today's business. Manila Standard, defining the news. Digital Media Partners. Globaltronics, leading digital innovation. City Advertising Ventures Corporation, remove your brand. Outcome. Elevate Media. Ariva Academy would also like to thank the following companies. Craving something real? We serve it. Burger King. Top Healthy Chicharron, the healthiest chicharron on the planet. Yummiest cashew nuts. Lotus Biscoff. Daily Fix. YA's Corporation. Purple Rockstar. Be on top, stay on top. Sun Life, helping clients achieve lifetime financial security and live healthier lives. Mighty Tech Advertising and Merchandising. Le Jardin Printing Services. Creative Voices, Certified Voice Artist Program. Queen Bee Waxing Salon, where smooth skin begins. Nails.glow, your self-care partner. Samaras Farm and Resort.